Trigger warning, I cried in this YouTube video. Low-key, I'm feeling super vulnerable posting this episode. This is about the ultimate childhood wound for me. And I can't say that I'm completely over it. And I can't believe I am publishing this episode. I can't believe my family is going to see this episode. But I'm opening up today to show you guys that my life isn't perfect, that my business was built on a childhood wound. If you've ever felt so not enough, there are lies that your past has told you that are just not true. And in order to give you permission to process and identify what those lies are, I'm sharing my childhood wound that is gaping. It is a gap. And like I said, I can't believe I'm publishing this. So thank you in advance. Today's episode is all about my sister, Candy.
Last night, I don't know if you guys were here. Some of you were here. A lot of you were here, actually. So I spent a lot of time with my middle son. You may have seen that. And so his name's Gray, classic middle child. And he's like, something tells me that I can't dance. So I was like, buddy, where do you think that's coming from? Where is that voice coming from? Is that from the Lord? Do you think that's from the Lord, or do you think it's from you or another story, or is that from the enemy? And he's like, it's from the enemy. And then I sat him up. So that's why I was spending a lot of time with him. Like, something's telling me I can't dance. Bro. I was like, so dancing, do you think your Tita Danielle can dance? You think so? You think Lauren can dance? She's out there. You think your dad can dance? I said, that's better for my skin tone. Thank you very much. That's better. I said, a lot of dancing is just like I said, you're in your head right now. You need to be out of your head and in your body. And that's what dancing is. It's just being in your body. But right now you're in your head. And he nodded his head. He like really understood it. He said, are you in your head? And he's like, yeah, I'm in my head. So you get that? It's just about being in your body. And in many ways, business is a dance. It's just dancing. You gotta get out of your head and in your body. Because when you're in your head too much, then you remember the stories. This world, as you guys know, a lot of you know, who rules this world? It's darkness. So you've been told stories, and you've been you've been accepting stories that are from the enemy. We've given you all the strategy stuff, and I was telling you guys, like, I just can't stand conferences or like retreats, and I probably give off this vibe, unless you've actually been here, that I'm all motivation. Like, please, nothing like makes me cringe more, because I paid for things like that, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I knew I could do it. I knew it. This was nice for social media. But, like, to pay, like, thousands of dollars for me to just know I could do it some more is just, like, to me. And the reason why it's mainly irritating to me is because I know that's how I'm perceived. And that's okay, right? I like it. I know that's probably my packaging. That's the packaging. So I think you guys are really wise for seeing through the packaging. And know that I actually mean business. And so if I'm going to make you fly here and leave your families and leave your businesses and leave your clients for a couple of days, it's going to be worth it. Do you guys feel like it's been worth it so far? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, it just bothers me so much. And so we've gotten through all the strategy stuff. We've gotten through all the head stuff, right? Now you got to get into your body. But what's beneath that? What is actually preventing you guys from executing? Because that's what it's going to take. You need to execute now. Please. Please execute. You need to take risks. And it can't just be for a couple of months, you guys. You have to change your entire makeup of your routine. Heavy lies the crown, but not for the undisciplined. When you are disciplined, it is light. I promise you. You have to get disciplined. You have to stop caring about what the clients that goes to will think, what your Aunt Karen might think that you're selling now on social media. And you need to get disciplined and not take it personally. My point is the Corbett brothers. Who's familiar with the Corbett brothers? Sorry if I'm saying their last name incorrectly. They founded the European Wax Center. 2 guys are waxing booty holes nationally. Men are typically, not all, but generally more unemotional, right? So they just operate probably just in their body, just in their like privates. Takeaway, operate in your privates, ladies, and you'll be rich.
Have you seen that Wolf of Wall Street? No. See?
Okay. Take a fist. We're gonna do it together. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. What did you say? Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah.
How many times? Lauren, how many times did you test? Those are rookie numbers. So I'm saying, like, I don't necessarily want men, like, you know, waxing me necessarily. By the way, I'm hairless. Thank you very much. Mom, Dad. My dad's hairless too. He has beautiful legs. Just slap a pair of heels on him. It would be so funny. Yeah, but I don't necessarily want guys doing that. And the reason why they've been able to execute this business to a multi-million-dollar business nationally is because they just operate with their privates. Maybe that's the secret. Getting out of your head. But us women, right? And a lot of men too. You need to heal. But in order to heal, you need to face those things. You need to face those stories that you've been telling yourself. You need to face them. So that's what we're going to do today to kind of close off. And then we have one more after this, right? No rush getting out of here today, by the way. No rush. So I'm going to tell you my story because I think that's how girls are. Show me yours. I've seen a lot of breast implants in the girls' restroom. Oh, let me feel that. What kind is that? How many cc's? What kind is this? So let me show you mine, and then you can maybe show yourself. I'm not going to ask you to share yours, okay? So here's my big story that I've been telling myself, that's been told to me. I am an only child. I am also the oldest, and I'm also the youngest. Answer that riddle. I'm an only child. I'm the oldest, and I'm also the youngest. How is this possible? You guys know, like, birth order, how there's like like you saw my kids last night. Great. Class middle child syndrome. My oldest and my youngest, like, grew up, like, no fear. Middle child. I'm middle too, and I'm also the oldest and the youngest. I have all the syndromes, like, wrapped into one. It all started in the Philippines. There was a 19-year-old, imagine this, ripped, just naturally, one of those, right? Burlesque dancer. She got her scholarship to go to college doing gymnastics. That's how she put herself through school, because she comes from a poor family of 5 brothers and sisters, and she lived in like a two-bedroom house. She found herself, she majored in English because she was physically appealing, and also she had a dancing capability. She used to dance at hotels and with dance groups, and she was a burlesque dancer, you know, not stripper. She will make sure you have the distinction, but burlesque. And she was 19 years old, and there was a 30-year-old, yes, businessman that was traveling for business and just kept visiting her with his friends. And he would come every weekend or so, just like And he would pick out all the dancers on stage, and he was like, that one is the one I like. That's the one I want. So he would meet her backstage and, try to ask her out, but she had a boyfriend. One day, her boyfriend and her broke up. And then so this businessman who worked for Shell was asking, because she was crying, why is she crying? Why is Sylvia crying? And her friend said, oh, she just broke up with her boyfriend. And he was like, all right, cool, my turn. So he asked her out on a date, and they fell in love. And after that was the moment they were inseparable. There's photos of them. Oh, they look so happy. They look so in love, so affectionate with one another. And he dated her, he courted her, and he knew her background. And he went to her parents and said, so you will never have to worry about your daughter financially ever again. Can you imagine when you're a poor family? And this man who was like mixed, right? In the Philippines, that's a big deal. Who's mixed, comes in and says, you'll never have to worry about your daughter ever again financially. It was like a dream come true for them. So he got her an apartment in Cubao and then told her, because he was such an entrepreneur, why are you dancing for these companies, these like burlesque companies? You should start your own. So she did. So he set her up, used his financial resources to set her up with her own dance company. Within like a year or so, she set up the Ferrari models, and she put up her own company, and she started choreographing and creating shows and selling them to hotels. And she was a boss, right? She had her own thing now. She had her own source of income, and she had this rich man who was providing for her. And her family was like, wow, Sylvia, you've really made it. So and got her an apartment, moved in with her and everything, but he kept going on a lot of business trips because he was, like I said, very busy, very in demand. After about 7 years, she decided when she got pregnant to keep a child. She wanted to have the baby. And he was like a little hesitant about it. He wasn't sure, because he wanted to keep her body intact. Now, she's 26 years old and she found herself with a baby girl. He named her Sheila Ferrari Molina, which is me, and found out about a week later that he had a family with 5 children. And the youngest one was born 6 months earlier, which is my sister. And her name is Candy. So, when I was 3 years old, I remember it was like 7 p.m. and I was in bed. They just wanted me to get rid of me, I guess. So annoying. And they took me out of my bed and plopped me down on the floor in the living room. And my dad said, I want you to meet your brothers and sisters. And I remember being on the floor in the living room, and I looked up and I saw my Ate Heidi, my Ate Lizelle, my Kuya Engelbert, and my Kuya Michael. 4. Just 4. And I looked up and they looked like the Von Trapp children. Because I was obsessed with the sound of music, and they were all in height order, and they were white. They were white. And I was like, wow. And then he said, this is your Ate Lizelle, Ate Heidi, Kuya Engelbert, and Kuya Michael. And I gave them all a kiss. And then he plopped me back down on the floor, and it's like one of my core memories. I looked at them and they laughed. Like, okay. I'm sure they didn't know what to make of it. And neither did I. I didn't know what that meant. Kuya, for those of you who don't know, means brother. Ate means sister. And then they sent me back to bed. The next day, they told me that I was going to hang out with them on Sunday. Sunday after church was like our time. And they also told me that there's a 5th that I had a sister, and I would meet her on that Sunday. And I was so excited because I remember playing with my Teddy Ruxpin and my Barbie dolls and my Polly Pockets and my Little Ponies and things like that. Like, oh, I wish I had a little girl to play with. My friends at school had brothers and sisters, and I didn't have that, and I didn't have playmates, and I wanted this sense of belonging. I wanted to be engulfed in family and friends and sisters particularly. But my mom didn't want to have any other kids because I guess my dad wanted to keep her body intact. So, in the anticipation of meeting my sister, Candy, who was 6 months older than me, she was my age, my mom, she took me to Shoemart. Shoemart in the Philippines is like a Macy's. I'm sure she was nervous, and she took me shopping after church to get a present for my new sister. And I remember I had to pick something out for her, and I wanted it to be perfect. Like something so good that she would love it, and she would love me in return. So after several hours, I think, of like looking at different toys and things like that, I picked out this sticker book. And it was so cool because it was reusable. You could like put the stickers in different places because there was like a plastic backing. And I was like, this is perfect. Okay, perfect. So I got it. And then I remember the car ride home looking at that sticker book, waiting to rip it open and share it with her. Thinking about, I had a sister. I have a sister. Okay, car ride home. Finally parked the car, and I couldn't wait to get out. And Mom finally unlocked the car, and I said, she said, she's here. I said, wonderful. So I remember as I raced through the garage and I opened the door, I'll never forget it. I opened the door, and then I see the back of her head. She was wearing a half ponytail and a pink dress. And I remember she was sitting down at the dinner table, and the light of the dining room table was shining, like beaming from her silhouette. And as I saw her and I opened the door, she looked like an angel. She had like, her hair wasn't black like a typical Filipino. It was like kind of like light brown. I was like, wow, that's my sister. That's my sister. And then I rushed in, and I had my sticker book in my hand, and I said, Candy, I got the sticker book for us. And then I ripped it open, and then as I ripped the wrapping, I also ripped the sticker book. Wait, did that really just happen? Did I rip the gift that I was... Wait, this isn't how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be perfect when I get to her. And that set the tone for our entire relationship. That was the biblical precursor, the foreshadowing of our entire relationship. So, fast forward. I was told that we're going to America now. Okay, so I was 8 years old. I met her when I was like 3 or 4, like Mac's age. It's crazy. Mac would probably rip a sticker buff. You probably shouldn't give him that to unwrap on his own. So, yeah, but like when I was 8 years old, I was told we're going to America. Okay, cool. Is Candy coming? He said, no, she's a little young. She's going to stay with her real mom. But your Kuya Michael, your Kuya Engelbert, your Ate Lizelle, and your Ate Heidi are going to come with us. And I said, okay. But during that time that I was in the Philippines, I remember when I spent time with Candy, I remember I was obsessed with the movie The Parent Trap, the old one with the girl with 3 names. Julie, help me. Haley, nope. Just Haley Mills.
It's Mills.
It's Haley Mills. The old school Parent Trap. And in Parent Trap, do you guys remember the plot? They looked so alike, and they were long lost twins. They were long lost twins, and they were trying to get their parents together. So I watched that movie, and I thought, this is us. This is like my movie come to life. It's my movie come to life. And I remember, my mother loved her as her own, and I was raised to love my brothers and sisters as my own. I saw them every Sunday. I looked forward to every Sunday because it was the day of the week where I actually had playmates. And I remember my mom took us to singing classes and things like that, and a bunch of other different things. And whenever my mom took me shopping, I would always say, hey, can you buy Candy the same dress so that we can, fool our dad because we look so alike? That's why I didn't have my own identity. So I was trying to do my hair like her, and to do dress like her and things like that. And so I would put her in the same dress and say, hey, let's fool them. I was really into the twin thing. So into it. And then obviously my dad could tell us apart. We had different moms. And then my dad would play along, I remember, and say oh, I did not know you were Sheila. Oh, I did not know you were Candy. Oh, I didn't. So he was so cute about it. Obviously was faking it. But I just loved it. And every outfit I got, I asked my mom obsessively and probably annoyingly, you should get one for Candy in the same color. You should get one for Candy. So she bought her a lot of outfits. And then it was time to go to America, and I was really sad. When I finally got to the States, I remember writing letters to her in Sanrio stationery, Hello Kitty stationery, or Karopi stationery, whatever. I remember Holly Dye, her, yeah, the Dalmatian. That was one of my favorites. I was like, this is my identity now, the Dalmatian. And then I would write to her all the time, just like the Notebook. And I would write to my other cousins, but Candy, for some reason, never wrote back. Why? I wrote to her. I wrote to her from the ages of 8 to 12 for 4 years. Every week, just telling her what was going on. And also telling her, all of the crazy things I was experiencing in America because, gosh, these people are so strange. They think our fish smells bad, but it just smells like fish. Weird. So, when I was 12 years old, I was told that Candy was finally going to come here. She was going to come to the States, and I was really excited about it. Oh my gosh, she's finally coming. She's finally coming. And she finally came. And I remember at the house, we were playing outside. I said, oh my gosh, I wrote you all those letters. Did you get them? And then she said, yes. And then I said, how come you never wrote back? And then she said, my mom didn't let me. And I thought it was really weird. I was like, okay, well, you're here now. That's all that matters. After about 2 or 3 years, her mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer stage 4. It was explained to me what that meant. And it was basically a death sentence. And my greatest love at the time was Candy, or maybe the idea of her. And when they told me that her mother was going to die, and she was my age, my greatest fear at the time was for something to happen to my mom. I couldn't believe that Candy was going to go through my worst fear. Couldn't believe it. I asked her how she was doing, and she said she was okay. And then her mother passed away. And at the time, I was living with my parents, but she was living with her older sisters and her brother. And I forgot to mention the reason why I'm an only child is because, and then also the oldest, is because my parents adopted my younger brother, Jag. This is another story. I digress, but he was 33 years old when I told him he was adopted. That was a couple of years ago. I couldn't lie. He couldn't. So Will and I are the black sheep of the family, honestly, because it's just we just don't lie. Sorry, we don't lie. So that's why I'm the oldest of my mom. I'm the youngest of my dad, And I'm also an only child, my mom and my dad. Okay. So, when they told me that Candy's mom was going to pass away, I prayed. I didn't know a whole lot about the biblical Jesus, but I prayed for God, whatever, to take her pain away and to give it to me. And I remember being really, really, really depressed at that time. I remember being really sad, being really scared. I seemed to be doing worse than she was. I remember being at the Shakey's Pizza on Reseda, like thinking about how her mom was going to die and how she was going to have to experience this pain. And I couldn't bear it. I just saw darkness everywhere. Finally, her mom passed away very quickly, very quickly. And she was living with my brother, my older brother, and my older half-sisters. I told my dad, I said, maybe we should move her in. Don't you think that's a good idea? She's like 14 years old, and I have a room that could have her there, that could have someone else there. And he said, okay. So I said, great, perfect. So we got her the same exact wrought iron bed with matching sheets. And I was like, this is going to be great. And he said, where are you going to go to school? And I said, I'll leave my school and I'll go to her school so that you can have one drop off. So I let go of all my friends and everything and the theater program that I loved at Kennedy High School, and I went to Granada. And I was like, let's do this. And I had this vision that Candy and I were going to be like, like the Parent Trap, but like in high school. So when high school came around and we started going to the same school, a lot of stuff started to come out, but I wasn't really aware of it. She was kind of mean to me. Julie knows. She was like a friend of me, but no. She was my best friend. It wasn't Julie. No. Candy. I'm obsessed with Candy. She's my best friend. She did things like she would lock me out of rooms. What did she do? She just felt kind of angry. And then somebody told me that her mom, when she died, before she died, that she told them, her offspring, her kids, that she died of a broken heart. I can't imagine, to her defense, marrying a man, having 5 kids with him having an affair for 7 years, and a child, an illegitimate child. I can't imagine being one of those kids, knowing that their dad left their mom to be with a 19-year-old burlesque dancer, gave her breast implants, and left all of them for this woman and this one kid. But I was just born. I didn't have anything to do with that. But I didn't know that. So that's why when I got engaged, when I was 24 years old, and my boyfriend at the time proposed. It's not Will. My first husband. He proposed. Who was the first phone call he made? Candy. I was at the beach, and there's a picture of me on the beach wearing a yellow shirt and a jean skirt, going like, oh my gosh. And I was on my flip phone. There's a picture of me somewhere. And she said, that's great. Okay. And I was like, well, you know who's going to be my maid of honor, right? Who's it going to be? Who was Candy? I was like, I'm so excited for this wedding. I watched The Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez. And I was just like, and I watched The Newlyweds with Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have my dream wedding and Candy's going to be my maid of honor. 2 weeks before the wedding, I told Candy, I was like, all right, cool. Your speech ready? And she said, no. And I said, why? Okay, I can help you get it ready. And then she said, I really don't feel comfortable giving a speech. And I said, oh, I understand. I completely understand. Public speaking is not your thing. And she's like, no. I just don't feel like I can do it genuinely. I said, what do you mean? And she was like, I just don't know about this whole thing. I just don't feel comfortable if I can do it genuinely. And that's when I realized something was up at 24 years old. That's when I realized something was up. So I was digging at that time. Why? Okay. And I really thought about it, and I was like, okay, I really wanted his sister. I really wanted his sister so bad. And she just didn't feel right about it. I felt like I gave her everything that someone like me could. I gave her as much as I could. So, anyway, show someone else for my maid of honor. Okay, she didn't have to do a speech. And then after that, she kind of admitted to me that she felt like I was the favorite. It just took me so long. But that instilled a sense of deep insecurity in me. That what I had to offer as a child, love as a child in its purest form, was not enough. I wasn't enough. All my love wasn't enough. So, I want to ask you guys, because as you see, everything I do is based around sisterhood. And you guys looking around here right now, seeing you guys commune with one another, seeing you guys cheer each other on instead of tearing each other down. This is my dream come true. My team, it's my dream come true. I did everything I could as soon as I had money to heal my inner child and to buy sisterhood. I bought it. And I question all the time, is this real? And Lord always tells me, it's real. And I find it so hard to believe still. Still, at 43 years old, I still find it hard to believe. So I want to ask you, what stories are you telling yourself that are from the pit of hell? What stories are you accepting? What stories has the world, the father of lies, have told you that you're hanging on to, that are still dictating your decisions, dictating your daily life, dictating your daily lives, that are preventing you from claiming your authority, from stepping into the most powerful woman you could potentially be? What stories has the enemy told you? So we're going to take a few minutes right now to uncover what that is. So, that's my story. I showed you mine. Show me yours. Candy told me, and the lies that the enemy has told her, it's not her fault. That my love in its purest form wasn't enough. It's not her fault either. She's just a victim of lies.